Hello, everyone. I'm Henry Little, Chief Executive of Opera Rara, and I want to start by welcoming and thanking all of you for tuning in to this, our 2025-2026 season preview. And I'm delighted to be able to share with you some of the treasures from Opera Rara's 55th season of operatic discoveries. So let's get started with a video.
Al campo della gloria, perché il dover mi chiama, per chi si fidottama, è barbaro il partir. La tua gradita immagini, sempre terrò nel petto dell'ostia al fiero aspetto, saprai destarmi ardire. Fin del Giordan sul margine, nell'ispirato canto di tua beltà del Veneto,
What an amazing and unique season of work we all have to look forward to. And here to talk with me about it some more is our artistic director, Carlo Rizzi. Carlo's generously taking time out from rehearsals for a new production of Puccini's Trittico in Paris to be with us. So, Carlo, what stands out for you about Opera Rara season? What are your special highlights that we should look forward to?
Well, there are different strands, depends as usual of what we do. From something smaller that promote younger artists like the Salon concert to big operatic recording. It's interesting that you're saying that I'm just doing Il Trittico because the big recording of this year is actually the version, the third version of La Rondine, that is again Puccini. And then at the end of the season, something that is really very dear to me, that is this project that we started many years ago, actually during the pandemic, we started to think about, that is the conclusion of the cycle of the 8 CDs of the Donizetti songs for voice and piano. The last recording would be with Nicola Alaimo, that you have already heard, with his hat of baritone on, and this time he will be doing the songs for bass. And this project for me and for Opera Rara, I think, has been something really very, very important and very much into the DNA of the company to rediscover something new and something beautiful. And I'm very excited about this.
Yes, we're all tremendously excited. It's really good to see that we have the culmination of what's been such a long labor of love to bring these amazing songs back into the public repertoire. It's interesting that when we talk about operara's very special and unique work, we tend to talk about it in terms of it being a journey. That journey, of course, being about rediscovery, restoration, recording, and promotion. But it's also a journey that I want to issue a invitation to join us, come with us, be with us on this extraordinary journey of operatic discovery. We can't wait to have you with us. But for now, I want to drill down a little bit into what you were saying earlier, Carlo, about the Donizetti Song Project and why that is, as you very rightly said, such an important part of Opera Rara's DNA. And at this point, I want to bring in our repertoire consultant, Roger Parker, who's been the editor of the Donizetti songs. And Roger, over to you to talk with Carlo about the Donizetti Song Project and why it's so special.
Yeah, I was thinking about as Carlo was talking about this project in numbers. So there's 5 years, 200 songs, 1,200 pages of music. I don't know how many critical notes, 8 CDs, 10 or more Salon concerts. It has been a tremendous experience, and I really think it's taught me something new about Donizetti. So it's been an amazing experience for me. So Carlo, we're seven down, one to go. I wonder, uh, how do you feel about the project? How do you feel about what do you think in particular you've learned from it over the period we've been working on these things?
Well, Roger, the thing that I have learned actually is that Donizetti is a great composer because, don't need to tell you, Donizetti wrote so many operas, and he, in a sort of way, sometimes being considered a little bit less than the other big four operatic composer. We know the story that his detractors were calling him Dozzinetti because he was sort of churning out operas by the dozen. Well, what I have learned actually that is a very, very, very ingenious and prolific and inventive composer because, as you say, talking about numbers, 8 recordings with an average of more than 20 for recording is a lot of songs. And when I started, you remember when you sent me that enormous files with all the scores. I thought, okay, fine, I'm going to find five that are interesting and then some other that are so-so. No, the other way around, actually. The vast majority is incredibly interesting, incredibly varied, um, experimental, because sometimes goes from a very simple romanza to some big scene that has been clearly conceived in an operatic way with a scena, a recitativo, sort of introduction, and then the cantabile, then the punto di mezzo, and then a sort of fast cabaletta is, and also in Italian and in French, and it's not just the Donizetti wrote text in Italian and then in French and put it music. I mean, found text and then put it in music. He also changed his way of composing according to the different text, to the different social actual environment, also where he was presenting the songs. So for me, this has been really, really a discovery. Plus, of course, personally, the joy of doing something that I did a lot when I was younger before to really taking on conducting full time. That was to do chamber music with instrumentalists and with singers, and to be really collaborating at a very, very deep level with these singers has been a real pleasure for me because what we do, yes, is particular and it requires particular people. It requires singers that are interested, devoted to, and really committed to this project. And the other thing that I would like to underline is that I think that this is actually a project where Opera Rara can be looking at the youngest generation of singers because these songs are really like a gym for the voices. From the vocal point of view, for the dramatic point of view, from the point of view of porgere la voce, to give the voice to an audience. And I personally really believe that the song is a huge addition and very important for the students that of singing. Even if they want to become operatic singers or whatever, but this, if you really do these songs well, these are the basics. And what you, Roger, actually have done, because you have been the one that has been all around Europe and finding all the very dusty manuscripts and making the edition of it. What you have done and what Opera Rara has done, putting this, forever in a recording, I think is a huge help and a huge source of interest for the young singers.
Yeah, I wonder whether there's one thing that increasingly has struck me is that if you approach Donizetti through these songs, the kind of ghetto which there can be with Italian opera, that it's somewhere separate from the rest of European music, is entirely blown out of the water because this is obviously a European composer and can be compared, with Schumann or Schubert or the French composers. So that way, there is a sense in which it can have kind of large historical implications to do this. I mean, I
Yeah.
think one thing that struck me is there are. I mean, you said this. There are obviously songs which sound like they could belong to an opera, but they're quite rare, actually, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, no,
Some
you're
of
right.
these songs are a different lyrical impulse in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, it's a completely different way of composing and of using the voice also. And in fact, we can see already with the recording that are out in this moment, there are, for recordings, half of the project. Um, every artist, each of them, have their own take on these songs because the songs are different, but because also the artistry that they put in is different, is really, really very varied and very, very, very interesting.
I think the other thing that strikes me, I remember talking to my dear old friend William Ashbrook, who wrote the great biography of Donizetti, and he sort of said at one point, Donizetti is a composer who was never guilty of bad taste. You know,
Yeah,
everything is perfectly shaped and elegant in all sorts of ways,
yeah,
and that's a,
absolutely.
it's a tremendous it's a tremendous experience. I think. I mean, it was interesting in the process of recording. I know that you tend always to start with the words rather than the music, and that the words are, and it's clearly that's how Donizetti composed. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
the
but
words
this
are
is important because a composer composes on the words, on the feelings that the words give. It's never happened that composer write a music and then give it to a poet, librettist, and say, "Oh, put some words on this." Is the other way around. So, although obviously we are doing this because of the music and the beauty of the music, is the drama, are the words, are the expression, are the feelings, and this is why I find this the songs and particularly opera. Also, talking about given that we are called opera rara, this form of art, I think, is particular because of this. It takes the starting point from the emotion of life and then enhance it and give us back with the music. And
yeah.
in a way, this enhancement that can happen, in this case with Donizetti, but in La Rondine or Puccini, um, can even start from some libretti that are not, Shakespeare or Petrarca, or, because then what the composer do, they take the inspiration from the words, from the situation, and then they create this masterpiece.
Yeah, and so another thing that's exciting about this project is that it will, I think, if things happen as we hope, this will sort of spread out like waves into the musical communities, into the conservatorios, and once we make this music generally available and these recordings available, that
Yeah.
there's potential for real educational change. I think you mentioned the way in which this can be, yeah, a kind of proving ground for young
Mm.
singers.
But Roger, I have to tell you, so when I was starting to accompany the singers when I was studying, it was 40 something years ago because I started quite young. And to my surprise, a lot of the books that were used then are the ones that are used now. So there's not been a huge development. I believe that with this project that we've done, this is the huge development because there are so many songs that first have never been performed, and secondly, yeah, okay, fine. You can find 10 songs here or 15 songs there, or the same melody of Bellini. But this will be like really a corpus of um, of sources that we have that I think is really very unique.
Yeah, so the rest, what we've got to look forward to in this next season is first of all Ermonela Jaho releasing two discs in September 2025, then Rosa Favola soprano releasing one disc in March 26, and then Nicola Alaimo bass for one CD released in June 2026, and also at the same time a Wigmore Hall concert. So there's
Constantly.
lots of other things to look forward to here. I'm going to hand back to Henry, who's going to talk about the Salon concerts.
As I think you've both said, these songs give us many opportunities, but one of the unique ones is not only to showcase the world's best known singers and also to enjoy this extraordinary new repertoire, but was hitherto unknown, but also to give the opportunity to young and emerging artists to perform these songs through our Salon series. These concerts, which began with the Donizetti Song Project, give us the opportunity to work with exciting and emerging talent who also feature on our opera recordings. And they not only perform the Donizetti songs, but they also perform material by Donizetti's contemporaries, all in intimate concerts for London audiences to enjoy.
Now, those concerts we also capture on film and we stream them to audiences worldwide on our YouTube channel. I recently had the chance to speak with two of the artists who feature in our upcoming Salon series. The Argentine baritone Germán Alcántara and pianist Anna Tilbrook, to talk about their upcoming concert and their experience of encountering and learning these extraordinary songs. I want to introduce you to Anna Tilbrook. Anna is our artistic collaborator for the 25-26 Salon season, and she has been working with us on the programming of those concerts. So Anna, let's start, because you've already very successfully accompanied some of our Salon concerts already. Tell us a little bit about your experience of performing Donizetti's songs.
It has been wonderful, because it's always lovely to discover, new music and new types of music. And Donizetti songs is not something a few years ago that I knew very much about. So it's been a fantastic voyage of discovery, and it's not only Donizetti. Obviously, there's Bellini, there's Rossini songs, but the Donizetti very much has been in the background of even those two composers who we don't hear doing that much in terms of song. So I think that, the indefatigable Roger Parker, who has discovered all these amazing Donizetti songs, it's just incredible the work that he's done. There's so much variety in the songs. I mean, I think there's like well over 200 of them. And in the concerts I've already done, explored Donizetti setting French and also Italian. I've got a concert coming up with a very interesting mix of very sort of traditional sounding songs, but also sort of Shainer type songs that are almost like operatic arias. So there's so much variety in his output just within the song world, which has just been great to discover.
Fantastic. And I think one thing that's distinctive about our programming of the 2025-26 Salon series, alongside the continuing focus on Donizetti songs, is also a focus on songs composed by female composers in that same period. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think it's such an important thing. I have, over the past number of years, done a lot helping and supporting colleagues of mine in discovering this music, and absolutely it's the same with Opera Rara. In the last concert I did, we did some Chaminade songs. In the concert I've got coming up, a composer called Carolina Uccelli, we are doing a number of songs by her. I had never heard of her before, so this is wonderfully exciting. There are some beautiful numbers that obviously people will be hearing for the first time, and I am, as a woman, obviously incredibly passionate that we do kind of discover and find all this music that has been locked away, trapped in attics and libraries and just not heard, and it really deserves to be heard. And I'm very excited to know that we are doing some songs by Argentinian female composers in the concert with Germán coming up in October.
Well, that's a wonderful opportunity to also introduce Germán Enrique Alcántara, who will be singing a Salon concert with you at the Temple Music Foundation in October of this year. In fact, it will be the first of our 25-26 Salon series. So, Germán, I have to start, of course, by congratulating you on the tremendous success of Simon Boccanegra, the recording that we released just a month ago, in which you sing the title role, and this was your first recording project. Congratulations.
Hi, Henry. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much, Henry, for this. I think it's a wonderful time now. No, this project was a great first recording for me. First main Verdi role also, and I'm very thankful that we have this concert coming up, which is a continuation of our work together with Opera Rara, and I think the public will discover there a totally different side of the music, and of this music particularly, because we are mixing two different continents, two different traditions, but with one sense, no, with the bel canto flavor, and I think it will be very, very interesting.
So it's very much a case, I guess, of Argentina meets Italy in a kind of a bel canto playoff, if you will. But
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about how some of the Argentine music that you're going to sing has been
There
influenced
is
by
a
Italian bel canto.
there is a long story, about of course, Argentina have a huge story about migration, no, and I think especially in our times now, how important it is to put it all this together and remember that we all come from different places. No, it's not such a place like Italy or Argentina, pure like this. No, I think we are all influence each other, and I think this first what we are putting together on this program, also with a huge amount of research that's been doing by Roger Parker on these Donizetti songs, and also everything that is surrounding that. No, it's not only, as Anna say, it's not only about Donizetti, but also about female composers around this period, also Bellini, Rossini, and other maybe composers that we also forget about them. No. So this is the case of Argentina in the very early period of nationalism, maybe we can still call it like that, where we have composers like Pedro Snaola or Aguirre, and later on like Cecilia Torra, that start to create this Canción Argentina as also a possibility for composers and for salons. So it will be mixed there by 18 something in a salon in Buenos Aires, maybe a Schubert, a Schumann, a Donizetti, and then Snaola, and then later on Aguirre and Bucciardo later on, and Torra, also Carrique, So this mixture, I think, is very interesting, and unfortunately, again, we're still calling the forgotten songs, no? Because for some reason, we lost this connection with this this type of idea that we could put all together and do a concert, no? I think a lot of people think that maybe we have to do like, okay, German lead from one side, then Latin American songs from another side, and then Donizetti also appears like, well, yeah, wait, this is not a composer for art songs. This is an opera composer. Well, thanks Opera Rara, I can say that this is changing now, and we can propose a program that is full of different flavors, but also as life it is, no? It's like at the end it's all the same thing, no? It's very interesting, and I think especially in these Argentinian songs, what is very interesting is to see that the influence is not coming only from Italy, but also from France and from Germany, and every composer that we are putting together with Donizetti. So it's like one song by Donizetti, then one song by an Argentinian composer or a female composer, and we are working really hard to make these connections together, not to put this by themes or by flavors or by harmonies or styles. That I think it will be very interesting. A lot of this program will be premiered in this concert, and I mean, a lot of these Argentinian songs were never even sung a part of the time of the composer. So it will be our contemporary premiere, and by sure UK premiere.
Absolutely. Well, it's a concert that we're all hugely looking forward to, and this kind of eclecticism, I guess, is the best way to talk about it, is very much at the heart of Opera Rara's approach to this kind of programming. You both mentioned Roger Parker, our repertoire consultant, who is very much the architect behind some of these salon ideas, working with Anna and working with our artists to put together a really interesting and unique program, which I would actually venture to say, in terms of this exploration of Italian and Argentine music, is going to be something of a UK first. So that concert is in October. It is followed by a further 2 concerts, which we will announce the details of shortly. But for now, a huge thank you both to Anna Tilbrook and to Germán Enrique Alcántara for joining us to amplify this very interesting part of Opera Rara's 25-26 season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The first Salon concert of our 55th season will feature Argentine baritone Germán Alcántara and pianist Anna Tilbrook. And it will be on the 10th of October at 7:30 p.m, presented in partnership with the Temple Music Foundation at the historic Middle Temple Hall. Future concerts will feature the soprano Juliette Lozano, the audience prize winner in the recent Cardiff Singer of the World competition. She will then be followed by a concert with the tenor Robert Louis, currently singing as part of the opera ensemble in the Opera de Lyon. And both Juliette and Robert will make their recording debuts with us as well later this season. We're also delighted to be joined by the soprano Soraya Mafi, an artist who is very quickly making a prestigious name for herself, who will join Robert in a program of duets featuring some of our latest Donizetti discoveries. And those 2 concerts, the one with Juliette and the one with Robert and Soraya, will be presented in a brand new partnership between Opera Rara and the Bechstein Hall in central London. I'm also delighted to announce that we will be bringing Donizetti's songs home to his birthplace in Bergamo in northern Italy, in a unique partnership with the Donizetti Festival, with emerging artists from the Bottega program, and our plan is to present all of Donizetti's songs across a series of concerts beginning this November at the 2025 Donizetti Festival. You can find more information about these exciting concerts, which will soon be published on our website. As always at Opera Rara, we are incredibly grateful to our supporters and donors who make our work possible. To our guardians for their steadfast support, and to our circle members, patrons, and friends, I say a huge thank you. I'd also like to take this opportunity to specifically thank our Donizetti Syndicate, who have generously supported our Donizetti Song Project from the very first year. You have helped us to secure a rich legacy of music that we hope will endure for generations to come. I'd also like to thank the supporters who have given to our annual Championing Emerging Artists Big Give fundraising campaigns. Through your generosity, you have made possible many new opportunities for young artists on the verge of major global careers. If you would like to join our growing family of supporters, please make a donation to Opera Rara through our website. We receive no government funding, and roughly 85% of our work is solely funded by you, our supporters. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for making our work possible. You will have already seen in the video and various other references the news of our exciting La Rondine project. And I mentioned earlier about Juliette Lozano and Robert Louis, both of whom will appear in La Rondine alongside a cast which consists of one of our largest groups of emerging artists in recent recording history. Carlo spoke with our artist ambassador, Ermonela Jaho, and musicologist Dietlef Rindom to discuss why La Rondine is such an important project for Opera Rara. But before that,
Here's a short video.
Well, after what we have heard, let's just talk a moment about this our next project, and I would like to talk about the version that you're going to record of La Rondine with Ditlev Rindom, that is one of the most accomplished and knowledgeable expert of Puccini. The thing that is interesting for me is this one. Generally, when when there are different versions of an opera, generally what we hear performed more often is the last version. So the composer was not happy with the first one, so did another one and then another one, etc., etc. I mean, for example, of Puccini, we can, Butterfly, for example, that have, I don't know, many versions. But this is different, correct? Because this is not a version that you have ever heard, but this is the one that Puccini wanted at the end.
Absolutely, that's absolutely true. We hear it now revived fairly regularly. I mean, I think it used to be known a little bit like the Cinderella of Puccini's sort of big mature operas, but it's performed very regularly now. But we basically always hear the standard 1917 version, which we call the first edition. But this is a piece that actually Puccini worked on all throughout the final years of his life. He made two later versions of them. The first one was premiered then sort of 1919 in Palermo. He did his second version, and then in 1921 he then published a third version, which Puccini himself actually never heard live in the theatre. Um, But we have always ended up hearing this standard version from 1917. And the simple answer for this question is that now we actually don't have the full scores available of these two later versions. So although we know that Puccini really put a lot of care and love into this final version of La Rondine, if you actually want to perform it, you have to do historical reconstruction, you have to use the vocal scores, reorchestration. We could call it the Opera Rara magic to make this version of La Rondine really come back to life again, which obviously makes it a fantastic project for Opera Rara, but also it's really an incredibly interesting, unique version of La Rondine. I mean, if we think about it compared to the standard version that we already know, there are significant changes in the way that the plot develops, and perhaps we can talk a little bit about that. One thing that's actually worth saying, I think, early on is that in a way, this very final version of La Rondine actually took Puccini back to the very original idea of what this opera was going to be like. When he was sent the original libretto, the draft for this opera, we know this because it was published in newspapers. It explained that there was going to be this love story between Magda and Roger. They would move to France, but at the end of the opera, he would find out about her past and he would reject her. And Puccini, as he first worked on the opera, changed his mind about this ending. So the ending we all know it's that Magda decides to leave Ruggiero. But actually, what we hear in this final version of La Rondine is also the very original idea, the very first idea that was handled for La Rondine, which is you have in a way, much more tragic ending that Magda wants to continue this passionate relationship with Ruggiero, but he finds out about her life in Paris and says it's over. So it's something, it's really painful. It's a really beautiful version of this opera, but it's incredible that it's actually never been performed in, for a century. This entire version of this opera has never actually been heard.
Yeah, thank you for this explanation. The interesting thing for me about what you just said is not that it's just a rewriting of some pieces on or some ensemble, but also is a real different conceptual change in the drama of the opera. I think this is really important, and I cannot wait to do it. Actually, one thing that maybe we should mention as a little teaser is that the vocal score that one of the vocal score that exists is a vocal score with the autograph dedication of Puccini to Arturo Toscanini.
Oh.
And Puccini in the first page in the frontespizio, it says "Caro Arturo," and then he says this phrase actually of La Bohème, "Torna al nido la rondine e cinguetta." Now maybe I am building too much here, but "torna al nido" means la rondine comes back to home,
To her,
no?
yeah, to her
And then
nest, yeah.
sing. It may be that is a little hint, hey, Arturo Toscanini, this is what I want to do. And
Absolutely,
that I think is very interesting.
yeah.
We do also some pieces also of the second version, so, correct?
Yes, and I think this is incredible that we can do this Lord Ferraro, which is that it is also possible to reconstruct the second version through, and I think this is going to be a really special opportunity for listeners actually to compare how Puccini treated some of the same plot material or used some of the same musical devices in a different context between the second and the third versions. And the second version, again, has never been performed in its entirety, it's never been recorded. So I think it will be amazing actually to finally be able to listen to these real highlights from La Rondine and compare the final version, the second version, and think about how different they actually are from the standard version we know.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, I'm here also with what I would call the Magda, that is our dearest Ermonela Jaho. I say the Magda because if there is a signature role that make her famous in the world, one of the many actually signature role is definitely the role of Magda in La Rondine. So Ermonella, ciao, welcome.
Oh, maestro,
And,
thank you.
so you have done this so many times in different houses with different colleagues, different conductors. So I just wonder, for somebody that knows the role so intimately, like you do, how do you how do you feel about actually clearly having to rethink this role, not only vocally, but psychologically more than vocally, to give all these different endings, these different feelings?
Really, first of all, I'm so excited, and it's a big opportunity because to sing the music by Maestro Puccini, it's always a great pleasure, and I love all the operas written from him. But La Rondine, La Rondine. Yeah, I've sung it different in different opera houses, and I'm so curious now to see the third, this new music, and I feel so privileged as well at the same time. And it's a big opportunity and a big challenge, Maestro, because it's a great responsibility to bring to life this new production, new edition, and emotionally, still it's a love story, maybe impossible love story, and every end that Maestro Puccini wanted, still it's a love story, impossible one. So it's going to be sufferance, there, pain. And I would say, even in these three different versions, still is it's more realistic, I would say, more verista, this the story of Rondine than the other operas, because we have this uncompleted loves in our lives, these kind of sacrifices, and Puccini was a master to bring them in the opera. So I'm really curious, and I'm so happy and privileged, Maestro, and excited at the same time to share together, to bring to life together this masterpiece in a different, with this unknown music, and to bring, why not, this flag that the Opera Rara always brings to the opera world, to bring the unknown music to life. And it depends so much from our souls if we do that with our love, with passion. And I think this is the key of this new version as well, to bring Puccini new, maybe. So, and to give the value of this opera that I've heard many times when I've sung La Rondina. It's not it's not a butterfly, it's not Tosca, it's the minor, opera, as you said, the Cinderella. But in every note, in every word, it's so much drama, so much life. All the color of life itself. They are described it so beautifully. In this opera, and I'm so curious now with the new version. So that's why it makes opera so new, I would say. And I hope we all will do our best to bring that and to make it the public, fall in love with the new Rondine, with the more drama, with more feelings, human feelings that always remains, pain, sacrifices, life itself. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Thank you. Well, you were talking about this story of impossible love. Seems to me that you're also a specialist at impossible loves in opera. Just thinking about Butterfly, for example, we did together Bohème. And funny enough, I just mentioned three operas of Puccini. So clearly your voice, I use a word that I hate, fits, the music of Puccini. Um, is something that you always had since when you were young and you started this affinity with Puccini, or that developed during your career?
Actually, maybe I had that always, but I became conscious with my career, I would say. Maybe because we are Mediterranean, I don't know, everything, the drama, the tragedy, it's in our blood, I would say. And in somehow I found my way to channel my feelings through my voice. And I think I discovered that in time, especially with Puccini, the duty uh, for myself as an artist, as an opera singer, to give to my voice the colors of the soul that I'm singing. And it came so naturally, so organic, that in Puccini I found that it comes so all these kind of colors, they fit very well. I would say they fit perfectly. I would say, with Puccini. So that's why. But I think last word, it's public. So if we can convey these feelings, all together with music, because I'm so lucky, not because you are here, maestro, but it's very important to have a great maestro in front as well, to bring the best from the singers, not only the notes, but every note means, and so spear on expression. So everything has a meaning, why it's written. So, and to have that kind of liberty to make music together will be fantastic. And in the family of Opera Rara, that everything comes, with so much love, support, and we know that very well. We are so vulnerable, as artists, and to feel comfortable, to feel in family all together, I think we'll bring our best, to the public. And I can't wait. I'm looking forward. I'm excited like a little girl now, So after 32 years, maestro, in this, in the opera world, that I've sung so many, many, many operas, still I feel like a girl, this curiosity. And thank you to Ditlev, to you, to everyone, to bring to life, still in
Well,
Puccini, something new. It's fantastic.
thank you to you for being with us on this journey, and journey that if even only a quarter of the enthusiasm that you are showing will become through definitely something for our listeners, our friends to looking forward. Thank you very much, Dieter. Thank you very much, Ermonela.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlo, Ermonela, and Ditlev. Now I want to talk about our Lives in Song series, which this season will focus on the life and music of Puccini. And here to tell us more is Flora Willson.
Thanks, Henry. Hi, everyone. I'm Flora Willson. I'm a writer, presenter, musicologist, and the host of Opera Rara's Lives in Song series. We've had a great time this season exploring the life of Donizetti, and I'm so happy that for our second season of Lives in Song, we'll turn our attention to Puccini. I'll be joined here in the studio by Puccini experts, both musicians and musicologists, as we delve into the life of the man behind the music, as well as the world that his music came from. We want to hear from you, though, as well. On Opera Rara's website, you'll find the Ask Opera Rara form, where you can send in your operatic queries to our team of experts. You can also simply tag us on social media using the hashtag AskOperaRara. At the end of each show, we'll go through your questions and comments. So do subscribe to the Opera Rara YouTube channel, and I hope you can join us for Lives in Song Puccini.
Thank you, Flora. And thank you to all of you for joining us to hear about Opera Rara's 55th season. I encourage you to join us at a concert or event at some point. I want to say a final thank you to our many supporters and donors who make our work possible. And finally, to all of you, please join us on this next chapter of Opera Rara's voyage of live operatic discovery.